Hi, Cineplex. I'm Rachel Zegler.
And I'm Andrew Burnap, and we're from Disney's Snow White.
Did a fairy tale fantasy turn into a behind-the-scenes Frost? Whispers from the set of Disney's Snow White suggest more than just enchanted forests and magical mirrors were at play. Rumors are intensifying that beneath the surface of promotional smiles, a genuine clash erupted between the film's leading stars. Could Andrew Burnap, embodying the iconic prince, have found himself at odds with Rachel Zegler over the increasingly debated direction of this reimagined classic? The internet is alight with speculation, and we're plunging into the depths of this alleged Snow White showdown to uncover what really transpired.
Disney is having its own problems. They're finally releasing the latest adaptation of Snow White, but they're scaling back the Hollywood premiere of the film. Kinsey, why is that?
Because Rachel Zegler is a PR.
The seeds of discord were sown well before the cameras started rolling, all stemming from Rachel Zegler's outspoken perspective on her role as Snow White. In a series of interviews, Zegler presented a vision of the fairy tale drastically different from the animated legacy. She articulated a desire to move away from the traditional romantic narrative, minimizing the prince's significance and even casting the original prince as a problematic figure using the term stalker. These weren't off-the-cuff remarks, they were a deliberate reshaping of a beloved narrative delivered to a global audience. The immediate reaction was explosive. Longtime Disney enthusiasts felt a sense of betrayal, accusing Zegler of disrespecting the source material and imposing a contemporary and to some unwelcome ideological lens onto a cherished story. Accusations of wokeness and a perceived disregard for the original's charm flooded social media platforms, creating a volatile atmosphere and setting the stage for potential on-set tensions even before filming commenced. The intensity of this initial backlash cannot be overstated. It created a significant headwind for the production right from the outset.
She's talented, she's attractive, she's got skill, but there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work.
Amidst this escalating storm of public disapproval, Andrew Burnap entered the scene, cast in the role of Prince Charming. However, in stark contrast to the vocal and often polarizing Zegler, Burnap maintained a conspicuously low profile regarding the unfolding controversy. While Zegler faced a relentless tide of online criticism and media scrutiny, Burnap opted for a path of relative silence, seemingly choosing to bypass the contentious debates. In his limited public engagements, he appeared to steer clear of the surrounding drama, focusing instead on highlighting the more conventional and positive aspects of the project. This divergence in their public approaches was immediately apparent and noteworthy. Was Burnap strategically distancing himself from the swirling controversy, perhaps sensing the potential pitfalls of wading into such a heated debate? Or did his reticence conceal a deeper unease, perhaps even disagreement, with the revisionist direction the film was taking and the media whirlwind it had generated? The prince in this modern fairy tale seemed to be navigating not enchanted forests, but rather the choppy waters of public opinion and potential internal discord.
In the greatest Disney box office bomb in the history of Disney live-action remakes, but certainly also the end of her career.
As the online furor continued unabated, hushed conversations began to emerge, focusing on the behind-the-scenes dynamics on the Snow White set. Could the palpable public disagreement between Zegler's pronouncements and the traditional expectations of the fairy tale translate into friction in their professional interactions? Unsubstantiated rumors circulating through online channels and entertainment blogs hinted at a possible undercurrent of tension between the two leads. Sources, often anonymous and unverifiable, suggested a potential divergence in viewpoints, with Zegler's contemporary and outspoken stance perhaps clashing with a more traditional artistic sensibility that might have been favored by Burnap or other members of the production team. While concrete evidence remained elusive, shrouded in the secrecy typical of film productions, the notion of discord behind the camera gained traction, becoming a compelling element in the developing narrative of a potentially troubled production. The very absence of official statements denying these rumors only served to amplify the speculation.
How it was so outdated and how Rachel Zegler disrespected the original and a classic from Walt Disney, something that completely saved Disney and changed the company and changed animation in general.
Did Andrew Burnap, despite his public silence on the central controversy, subtly communicate any hint of disagreement or discomfort? While he refrained from any direct critique of Zegler or her statements, some astute observers and online commentators began to meticulously analyze his every public appearance and utterance for veiled cues. His seemingly generic comments about the film project, his recurrent emphasis on classic fairy tale themes in interviews, and even his nonverbal communication, body language, and facial expressions during promotional events were all subjected to intense scrutiny. Was his outwardly neutral and somewhat reserved demeanor simply an accurate reflection of his personality, or could it be interpreted as a carefully crafted public persona designed to mask a more intricate and potentially conflicted internal reality? Lacking explicit declarations, fans and media analysts alike engaged in a form of interpretive decoding, searching for any discernible sign that the prince might not be entirely enchanted with the unfolding Snow White narrative and the surrounding media storm. This created an environment where even the slightest gesture could be blown out of proportion and interpreted as shade.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The intense online backlash against Rachel Zegler extended beyond mere digital criticism. It had tangible repercussions for her public image and professional standing. The sheer volume of negativity, the often personal accusations, and the relentless media attention undoubtedly placed her under immense pressure. Navigating this public relations crisis, particularly while simultaneously leading a major Disney film production, presented a formidable challenge. How did this sustained pressure impact the on-set atmosphere? Did it engender any awkwardness or create a sense of distance between her and her fellow actors, including her principal co-star, Andrew Burnap? The considerable weight of the controversy became an undeniable factor, casting a long shadow over the entire film project and potentially influencing the interpersonal dynamics among the cast and crew. The strain of such intense public scrutiny is rarely confined to just one individual. It can ripple outwards and affect the entire working environment.
I'm a narcissist. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay. Disney, a media conglomerate with vast experience in managing public perception, found itself confronted with a burgeoning public relations challenge in the Snow White situation. Faced with mounting controversy and the risk of alienating a significant portion of their audience, the studio likely initiated a comprehensive damage control strategy. Public relations teams would have been working diligently behind the scenes to manage the narrative, striving to appease disgruntled fans and project an image of unity and control over the project. Were there behind-the-scenes efforts to mediate any potential tensions or disagreements between the film's stars? Did the studio attempt to subtly redirect public discourse, shifting focus away from the contentious initial comments and towards more palatable aspects of the production? The studio's carefully orchestrated PR maneuvers became yet another layer of complexity in this evolving drama, a silent but powerful force attempting to regain command of the narrative surrounding a fairy tale adaptation that had unexpectedly veered off course.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Oh my God.
And I can only hope.
What does that mean?
That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
So, in the final analysis, did Andrew Burnap truly destroy Rachel Zegler over the Snow White controversy? Probably not in any literal, overtly aggressive sense. However, the persistent rumors and widespread speculation collectively paint a picture of a potentially strained professional relationship fueled by demonstrably differing perspectives and a very public and polarizing debate. The complete and unvarnished truth of what transpired behind the closed doors of the Snow White production remains, for the most part, concealed from public view. Were there genuine disagreements? Did palpable tension permeate the set? Did Burnap harbor private reservations regarding the film's direction and the intense media scrutiny surrounding his co-star, even if unspoken? While definitive, irrefutable answers are scarce, the sheer volume and persistence of online chatter and industry whispers strongly suggest that beneath the surface of fairy tale magic, there might indeed be a complex and potentially dramatic story of behind-the-scenes conflict. The absence of denials itself speaks volumes to some observers.
And now she's trying to reinvent herself because there's been so much blowback. And you can only imagine the studio calls about this woman behind the scene. Like, oh my God, we're $242 million in, and our lead actress hates our film, our actors, our storyline.
Andrew Burnap's consistent silence throughout the Snow White saga raises a crucial question. Was it a calculated strategy or a subtle form of protest? In the tumultuous landscape of Hollywood PR, silence can be as potent as any statement. Perhaps Burnap, a seasoned actor, consciously chose to avoid fueling the flames of controversy. Engaging directly with the online backlash or publicly commenting on Zegler's remarks could have been perceived as unprofessional or even detrimental to the film's already fragile public image. Alternatively, his silence might stem from a more personal stance. Did he fundamentally disagree with the direction of the reimagining, or perhaps feel uncomfortable with the intense scrutiny his co-star was facing? Could his quiet demeanor be a subtle form of dissent? A way of distancing himself without directly creating further conflict? Or was it simply a matter of professional prudence, a calculated move to protect his own reputation and career amidst a potentially damaging situation? Decoding Burnap's silence becomes a key part of understanding the behind-the-scenes dynamic, adding another layer of intrigue to the unfolding drama. His quietude, whether strategic or personally motivated, speaks volumes in the absence of explicit statements.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where...
Beyond the personal dynamics of the actors, the Snow White controversy casts a long shadow over the film itself. The pre-release negativity and online debates inevitably raise questions about the film's ultimate fate. Can Snow White overcome the storm of criticism and achieve box office success despite the pre-existing negative perceptions? Disney has invested heavily in this live-action reimagining, and the studio is undoubtedly hoping to recoup its investment and maintain the enduring appeal of the Snow White brand. However, the level of pre-release controversy is significant, and it remains to be seen how this will translate into audience reception. Will curious viewers be drawn in by the drama, or will the negative buzz deter audiences from embracing this new iteration? The film's performance will serve as a crucial test case. Can a movie plagued by pre-release controversy still find its audience? The future of Snow White in the wake of this storm hangs in the balance, adding a compelling layer of suspense to the entire narrative. The real fairy tale ending in this case may depend less on magic mirrors and more on the resilience of the film in the face of public opinion.
May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Then she discusses the deep, deep sickness in this country. There is no help, no counsel in any of them. And she also attacked Twitter and Elon and finished it all with Donald Trump.
The Snow White saga hasn't just been confined to online fan forums. It's reverberated throughout Hollywood itself. Industry insiders, commentators, and even fellow actors have been closely watching the unfolding drama, and in some cases subtly weighing in. While direct public statements are rare, the undercurrent of discussion within the industry is palpable. Some commentators have pointed to the Snow White situation as a cautionary tale about managing expectations with beloved intellectual property, highlighting the risks of alienating established fan bases when attempting to modernize classics. Others have debated the role of actor commentary in pre-release promotion, questioning whether outspokenness can backfire in the current social media climate. There's also a broader conversation about representation and reimagining. How far is too far when updating a classic fairy tale? Is Disney's approach innovative or reckless? The Snow White controversy has become a talking point behind studio doors and in industry circles, prompting reflection on the delicate balance between creative reinvention and respecting the legacy of iconic stories. Hollywood is watching closely to see how this fairy tale unfolds, both on screen and in the court of public opinion, as it could set precedents for future remakes and adaptations. The Snow White controversy, regardless of the film's ultimate success or failure, offers crucial lessons for Disney and the wider entertainment industry, particularly when it comes to handling beloved franchises and remakes in an era of intensely divided fandoms. One key takeaway is the vital importance of managing pre-release messaging and actor commentary. While authenticity and actor passion are valued, the Snow White situation demonstrates the potential for missteps when promotional narratives clash with fan expectations. Moving forward, studios might need to adopt more nuanced strategies for pre-release campaigns, perhaps focusing on highlighting the positive aspects of reimagining without directly criticizing or dismissing the original works. Furthermore, the controversy underscores the power of online fan communities and the speed at which negativity negativity can spread. Disney and other studios will likely need to become even more adept at engaging with fan concerns proactively and navigating the often turbulent waters of online discourse. The Snow White experience could well reshape how Disney approaches future live-action remakes, prompting a re-evaluation of their strategies for balancing innovation with reverence for the source material, and for managing the delicate relationship with their passionate and vocal global fan base. The fairy tale ending for Disney remakes in the future might depend on learning from the Snow White saga's less than enchanted beginnings. The unfolding saga of Disney's Snow White has become far more intricate and nuanced than a simple tale of happily ever after. The initial controversy sparked by Rachel Zegler's pronouncements, coupled with the contrasting public posture of Andrew Burnap, has woven a compelling, if somewhat turbulent, narrative around the film's production. While the provocative headline "Destroyed" might be a deliberate exaggeration intended to attract attention, the underlying questions concerning on-set dynamics, differing artistic visions, and the impact of public opinion remain genuinely intriguing. What are your interpretations of the events surrounding Andrew Burnap and Rachel Zegler during the making of Snow White? Share your theories and insights in the comments section below. We're eager to hear your perspectives.